Hey babe, I want to get this new Breville coffee machine, but it's like $1,000.
Just put it on the credit card. We'll figure it out later.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about how much debt we all have based on our age groups. Because come on, we all like to see how we stack up against our peers. And before we talk about the age-based stats, I'll go over the different types of debt and some interesting stats about the different types. So if that's something you're into, let's get into it. When we combine everyone's individual debt together, we can see our total debt balance in America is $15.5 trillion. But it's generally nice to separate housing debt and non-housing debt. And that's because mortgages are generally regarded as good debt, while things like credit card debt and auto debt are often regarded as bad debt. Now, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with these beliefs, but I'll get into that a bit later in the video. So out of that $15.5 trillion, $11.25 trillion is housing debt and $4.33 trillion is non-housing debt. On an individual level, the average American has a total debt balance of just shy of $93,000. And this includes everything, whether it be a mortgage, credit card, personal loan, and so on. And as we can see, we have breakdowns of how much debt each individual American has in each category. And this encompasses all generations. So the average person has just over $5,000 in credit card debt. However, this is one debt category that I don't fully trust. And I say that because when you go and pull your credit report, the report's going to show a snapshot of your credit profile at the time the report's requested. This is problematic for credit cards because for people like me who use them on a daily basis and pay them off in full each month, it may very well show that I have $5,000 in credit card debt, but in reality, I never carry a revolving balance. So I just take this category data with a grain of salt. With that said, it's been found that about 54% of adults carry credit card balances from month to month. However, if we look back to 2010, shortly after the Great Recession, this was actually much lower at just under 40%. And then by the time we got to 2015, it peaks right at 59%. The average American has almost $20,000 in auto loans, and about 85% of new cars are financed, while only about 55% of used cars are financed. If you talk to Dave Ramsey, he'll tell you all of your vehicles combined shouldn't exceed half of your yearly income. And another rule of thumb out there is that a car loan payment shouldn't be more than about 10% of your take-home pay. So if I make $5,000 net per month, my monthly car loan shouldn't exceed $500. The average personal loan balance is $16,500. These are going to be the loans that generally don't require collateral and they carry an average interest rate of about 9%. But the rate that you're going to get for loans like this will be highly dependent on your credit. Next, we have mortgage debt. And mortgage debt in general is on an upward trend as we see houses become more and more expensive. However, we see about 44% of Americans are holding mortgage debt, and on average, this debt is about $208,000. And the average adult has almost $42,000 in HELOCs, which stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. Now, this is when homeowners have built up equity in their home from a combination of paying down the principal and from appreciation. The homeowner can then essentially take out almost a credit card where they're able to use a portion of their home equity in order to pay for things as they need them. The downside here is their house is collateral. So if they don't pay back the HELOC, they risk getting foreclosed on. And only about 12% of adults have HELOCs. And then we have student loans. The average person has almost $39,000 of student loan debt. However, this amount is going to vary wildly depending on several factors. And these factors can be, how many years did you go to college? Did you go in-state versus out-of-state? And did you get any scholarships or grants? The general rule of thumb here is that student loan debt shouldn't be more than what your first year's salary is going to be when you graduate. But it's nice to have a breakdown based on age groups in order to get a rough idea of how we're personally doing compared to our peers. Today's data comes from Experian, and they have all kinds of data about us. You probably even know what I ate last night, and that's just super. So, ages 18 to 23, Gen Zers, also known as Zoomers. They're holding an average of $16,043 in total debt. At this stage in life, you're likely just getting your first little taste of American consumer debt. Perhaps you're dabbling in some student loans, maybe getting yourself into a nice little car lease. I know in this age range, I personally was not financially savvy. I took out too many student loans and I used my credit card like it was my own money. But I didn't stop there. I graduated college, got my first job, and then immediately leased a brand new car. I mean, growing up, I didn't really get the best personal finance education at home. I grew up in a household where we simply never talked about saving and investing. But for those of you who are sitting there watching personal finance videos on YouTube, which simply didn't exist when I was growing up, you obviously have the determination to become better, to take control of your money so it doesn't take control of you. So what's the average Gen Z are getting into? Well, the data shows they're starting to dabble with credit card debt with an average of just under $2,000. They're also driving around in cars they likely can't afford with an average of $15,724 in auto loan debt. Gen Zers also have an average of $6,000 in personal loan debt, $36,000 in home equity lines of credit, and $17,300 in student loans. But we are seeing Gen Zers also get mortgages, and they have about $169,000 in mortgage debt. Our late teens and early 20s are truly formative years. The choices we make in these years really impact the trajectory our life is on. Some people dig themselves into a hole filled with debt, while others focus on buying assets and investing for retirement. And if you've been watching this channel, I'm sure you've heard me stress how important the money we're investing in these early years is. What's up, guys? If you're getting value out of this video, do me a ginormous favor and click that like button ever so gently. It really helps this video get spread to more people. Ages 24 to 39, primarily millennials, have an average total debt of $87,448. Here we see a significant increase in debt from Gen Z's $16,000. In this age range, we're likely to see some promotions at work that come with salary increases. But higher salaries generally come with at least a little bit of lifestyle creep. Also, during this age range, we may be starting a family, which then may require a larger vehicle. And we're also more likely to be purchasing our first house at this time. All of these things are very expensive. So for those aged 24 to 39, we're seeing credit card debt more than double from Gen Z's $2,000, getting all the way up to $4,300. As far as auto loans, we're seeing a 20% increase from Gen Z, from just under $16,000 to just over $19,000. And personal loans for millennials more than doubled when compared to Gen Z, coming from $6,000 to just over $12,000. Mortgage debt also increased for millennials, increasing from Gen Z's $169,000 to $237,000. And we only see a slight increase in HELOCs, coming from $36,000 to just over $40,000 for millennials. Student loans more than doubled, which makes sense as the average age for graduate students is 33 years old, and grad school is typically not only far more expensive than undergrad, but it's also likely that grad students are carrying undergrad student loans throughout grad school. So Gen Z had just over $17,000 in student loans, while millennials had just under $39,000. Ages 40 to 55, primarily Gen Xers. You ever notice how you never really hear anything about Gen X? It's like they're just silently existing how millennials and boomers trash talk each other. I don't know. So Gen Xers have just over $140,000 in total debt, which is about a 60% increase from millennials' $87,400 in total debt. This generation of people have the highest overall debt, along with the highest credit debt, auto loan debt, mortgage debt, HELOC debt, and student loan debt. I mean, they're just living their best life. For credit card debt, we see an increase from the millennials' $4,300 in credit card debt all the way up to $7,100 for Gen Xers. For auto loans, we see an increase from $19,000 all the way up to $22,300. Personal loans saw an increase from $12,300 to $17,700. Mortgages saw a very slight increase from $237,000 for millennials to $247,000 for Gen Xers. And HELOC saw a slight increase from millennials' $40,500 to Gen Xers' $46,600. And student loans increased about $6,000 from millennials' $38,900 to Gen Xers' $45,000. This is the age range where we're seeing peak expenditures. If you're gonna have a family, you'll probably have one by this point. And lifestyle creep is probably in full effect, with several life upgrades occurring during this time. Ages 56 to 74, primarily made up of
Boomers.
Boomers have a total debt load of $97,300, which is a significant decrease from Gen Xers' $140,600. You're likely thinking of retirement by this point in life and hopefully nearing the end of your mortgage. For this age group, we see a decrease in their credit card debt from Gen Xers' $7,100 down to $6,000. They've also decreased their auto loan debt, but only slightly, down from $22,300 to $19,300. Boomers actually have the highest personal loan debt, sitting at $19,700, which is a slight increase from Gen Xers' $17,700. And boomers are starting to pay down their mortgages, and they hold an average of $178,600 in mortgage debt, down from Gen Xers' $247,500. And we see a slight decrease in their HELOC debt from Gen Xers' $46,600 down to $41,500. And boomers are also beginning to pay down their student loans, as we see their debt decrease to $40,500 down from Gen Xers' $45,100. And then we have those 75 and up, primarily the silent generation. Their total debt load dropped all the way down to $41,300 from the boomers' $97,300. Ideally, by this point in life, you're retired and you're living off a combination of your assets and Social Security. We see the silent generation as about half the average credit card debt as the boomers, coming in at about $3,200 versus $6,000. We're also seeing about a 25% drop in auto loan debt, now at $14,700, down from the boomers' $19,300. Personal loans only dropped slightly, coming in at $17,100 compared to the boomers' $19,700. We are still seeing some mortgage debt, with an average of $133,800, down from the boomers' $178,700. And HELOCs are also down to $35,900 from $41,500. And the silent generation is still hanging on to those student loans, coming in at $28,000, down from the boomers' $40,500. It's certainly enlightening seeing how much debt the average Joe has. But if you're sitting here watching personal finance YouTube videos, you're likely trying to be more financially responsible than the average person. All we can really do is spread good information and help educate people about how to handle their personal finances. There's a lot of people out there trying to make money off of you, so it's difficult to really know who to trust. So I'm just trying to make videos about the things I wish I knew sooner. So if you got value out of today's video, do me a huge favor, click the like button and let me know down below. How do you compare with the stats we just talked about? And if you want to see the average 401k balance by age, check it out here. Have a great day. Peace.